So now our closing keynote is Hannah Anderson, a co-founder at Social Chain, and she's going to be talking about don't build a brand, build a personality. Why do so many brands still get social media wrong? Well, Hannah, who heads up a team who reach over 1.8 billion every month through their 80 million followers, she will show you how your brand can make a huge impact by building an emotive human creative from the very start of your campaign. She's a keynote speaker. She's absolutely fantastic. And she works at one of the most inspirational agencies out there, which is Social Chain. So let's welcome virtually to the Social Day virtual stage, Hannah Anderson.
And we are live. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having me today. I will just wait for my slides to be up and then I will get started. And we are up with my slides, I believe. Hopefully. So yes, today I'm going to be talking about how to build a personality instead of a brand. And we'll start off with kind of a bit of a story and background about me and how I got to where I am. So 2 years ago, in March, I broke my back. This is a photo of me in hospital. I was trying to do a backflip on a trampoline when I landed myself quite literally with a broken spine. Now, as I lay there on the trampoline in the worst pain of my life, I was screaming, help me, and I was wiggling my toes to see if my legs were still going to work. Well, the only thing I could think was, this is going to make a fantastic tweet. Now, usually when I tell that joke, there's an audience who are laughing back at me. So I'm just going to pretend that I know that you're all laughing. But yes, ultimately, my name is Hannah and I have been addicted to social media for about 10 years now. So the thing about social media is everything about it is designed to be as addictive as possible. So every like, every comment, every retweet that you get, well, it sends a hit of dopamine directly to your brain and it makes you feel good. And this is what, from day dot, I absolutely loved about social media, this addictive nature. And when I was in sixth form, I made my first ever social media page, which was about something that I was very, very passionate about. It was about sandwiches. And as you can see here, I could always do with a good sandwich went incredibly viral. It got 6 likes and 1 comment. Morgan here was saying, ha ha ha, he absolutely loved it. And ultimately it didn't go incredibly viral, but what it did do was reach 7 people who interacted and cared about what I was talking about, and that made me feel amazing. I was so passionate about social media and about how I could connect with people just by typing on my phone. Now, unfortunately for me, or fortunately, I kind of had to leave my passion for social behind because I'd always wanted to be a teacher from my very, very first day of school. So this picture here on the left-hand side is me on my first day of school, and the sign on the door, on the windows there say, hip hip hooray, Hannah starts school today, which me and my dad had made the night before, but I think he was just incredibly buzzing to get me out of the house and into education for the next 18 years. And I had to give up this sandwich page because it was quite uncouth for a trainee teacher to be building a community of sandwich lovers in her spare time. But as you can see on the right-hand side, when I decided to become a teacher and decided to start training, I didn't really give up this passion for social media. So I would post everything that happened in my training, and when I was going into schools, I would post that on my Facebook. And I was actually quite shocked to discover when I was training to be a teacher that The Farmer Wants a Wife is now a dating site for lonely farmers, which it genuinely is. But like I said, other than my personal Facebook, I'd given up social and the dream of becoming the most famous sandwich lover in the world. Or had I? So whilst I was training to be a teacher, I actually had a secret. In my spare time, I was building hundreds of thousands of followers in my bedroom. I hadn't given up social media. I hadn't given up that hit of dopamine that I got when people engage with my content. And I kind of realised that people are just like you and me. People care about themselves. They didn't really care about me posting about what was happening when I was, when I was going into school. They happened to care about themselves. So I kind of worked out, what am I passionate about? Well, at the time I was passionate about Harry Potter, and I knew that not only I was passionate about Harry Potter, but millions of people around the world were also passionate about Harry Potter. So me being me, someone who loved creating social media pages, I created my account on Twitter about Harry Potter. And I posted, again, usually I get a few giggles in the audience here, so please do let me know if you laughed. If you didn't, that's fine too. I posted silly jokes, silly puns, like these here. These are all Voldemort-themed puns. I do apologise. And this account, alongside other accounts, absolutely took off. And I never really thought anything of it, even though over the space of 3 months, my Twitter empire had gone from maybe 10, 20,000 to about 500,000 across several different accounts. And I'd never, ever, never thought of it as anything more than a hobby. I still wanted to be a teacher. That's still what I wanted to do. Until I met these two young lads who don't look like that anymore. I received a DM off of Dom on the left-hand side, and it said, "Hey man," he didn't realise that I was a female because other girls didn't really make Twitter accounts. He said, "Hey man, I love your page. Do you want to work together?" And at the time, Steve and Dom, they offered me £1,500 for all of my Twitter pages. And I genuinely considered it. I had never, ever, ever seen that amount of money in my entire life. To me, a student, I was living at home with my dad. I was living off student loans. I'd never seen that amount of money in my life before. And it just seemed phenomenal. But I knew that the pages were worth more than £1,500. And I knew that, having this these groups and these passionate people, hundreds of thousands of passionate people around key passion points, was valuable, and that working together we could make more. And that was when Social Chain started, really, and we came together and we just grew as many social pages as we possibly could. And you fast forward 5 years from now, and we've done the same thing. We've kind of doubled down on what people care about in specific niche audiences. So Nick here, he founded Sport, which is a sports account. Now it has 15 million sports fans. Same for Joe. He loved gaming and he created a gaming page. And now Gamebyte, which is one of our gaming brands, has up to, I think it's 8 million followers now across social. Same with fitness, same with food. And we were connecting hundreds of thousands of people around the world around what they cared about and what they were passionate about. And this led to, in 2018, me being named in the Vogue list of the 25 most influential women in the country. And now I wasn't named in there because I am a famous person. Those people like J.K. Rowling, Meghan Markle, Dua Lipa in there, and I'm nothing like those people. But what I do have in terms of being influential is an understanding of people, how people act, how people feel, and that you can't just shout a message at someone to make someone do things. There's a psychology behind it all. And at Social Chain, we use that understanding of people to help some of the biggest brands in the world alongside our media brands. So the question on your lips at the moment might be, how do you build a brand on social? Now, quite traditionally, brand building, people might look at, what audience do we want to target? Do we want to target young people, old people, male, female, and push our content to them? That's kind of how it's traditionally been. Something like this. I'm brand X, so I need to hit X gender, X age with my brand, and that will work. Bullshit. Unfortunately for traditional media and how it's always worked, a few years ago, social media came in like a wrecking ball and messed that all up. No longer is the power in the advertiser's hand. It's in the people's hands, because you can't simply just bark your message out, because unfortunately for traditional advertisers, everyone can scroll past if they don't care about that. So how I'm going to demonstrate how to build a personality instead of a brand is through several different stories. So I have a friend. Her name is Sarah. Sarah is 16 to 34. She's a female. This is me and Sarah when we were 21 in Valencia, having a great time. She's exactly the type of audience that you'd want to target a fashion brand to. But the thing about Sarah is Sarah couldn't give a toss about your fashion brand. So when Boohoo came to us wanting to target 16 to 34-year-old females, well, what did we do? We knew that people weren't just going to give a crap about a brand for the sake of it. We had to tap into more than that. So Sarah might not give a crap about a specific clothing brand, but what Sarah does have is real human problems. So Sarah never, ever, ever has anything to wear. And this is a post from Sarah in 2013 about not having anything to wear, a real problem that a lot of young females can relate to. So we took that and we had a look across social, and we found out that a lot of 16 to 34-year-old females share this problem. They always, never have anything to wear. It's a genuine problem. So with Boohoo, when they came to us wanting to increase their brand awareness, make people care about them more, we created Boohoo Nothing to Wear. And every Friday, we would tweet out a free outfit alert. Now, all you had to do was tweet into Boohoo saying, Boohoo Nothing to Wear and why you deserved that outfit. And we pressed our magic social chain button and we amplified this message across our female-focused communities, and the tweets started rolling in. So this person here thinks she deserves to win because she's a broke history student who, if she doesn't win this, is nothing but a subpar nerd with good eyeshadow. And I can relate, although I don't have good eyeshadow because I can't really do it very well. This person here thinks she deserves the free outfit because she's broke and she's delayed on a train. And it started getting really, really weird. This person here tweeted in because her goldfish died a couple of days ago and she thought she deserved to win because of that. I don't think this person actually won. But after 20 minutes, Boohoo Nothing to Wear was in the top trends on Twitter. And that was week on week. What we'd done is we'd shown the young girls that Boohoo gave a shit about them and their real human problems. So they started to give a shit about Boohoo. And if you look at Boohoo over the past 5-6 years, it's probably gone from a brand that wasn't well known to being one of the most well-known fashion brands in the country, all because of that simple mindset shift. I have another friend. His name is Casey. So this is Casey. He's a typical young lad's lad, absolutely loves football. Casey loves Ipswich, feels complete and utter ecstasy whenever Ipswich scores a goal, whenever Ipswich wins, feels that complete utter ecstasy. Casey also hates Ipswich. Whenever Ipswich concede, whenever Ipswich lose, he feels that complete and utter agony. Unlucky for me, I'm a Sunderland fan, so I've never really felt that ecstasy. I've just got a lot of agony. If anyone can relate, please let me know. But this isn't about me. Back to Casey. So Casey, he also loves betting, like a lot of football fans. He loves betting, loves putting his accumulator on, Super Sundays, all that kind of thing. But when it comes to where he bets, he's not really too bothered. It's where, who's got the best deal on, who's front of mind at the moment. So when Sky Bet came to us in 2018, wanting to increase their share of conversation and increase, people betting with them, what did we do? Well, we focused on two key emotions that every single football fan, maybe apart from Sunderland fans because we just feel agony, every single football fan feels. And the thing about these emotions is they're not just kind of passive emotions. They're very high arousal emotions. And I don't mean anything funny by that. What I mean is when you feel agony, it physically impacts your body. You can feel your heart hurting. You feel yourself shutting down. And opposite of that, when you're ecstatic, when you feel ecstasy, your body is, you're shaking, you're related, you feel that kind of euphoria. And we focused on these two emotions. And this is what we did.
In May 2017, we partnered with Sky Bet to mark the return of the Sky Bet Championship playoffs. We were tasked with raising brand awareness, boosting positive sentiment, and increasing Sky Bet's share of voice on social by portraying the agony and ecstasy of the event. To make a substantial impact on social, we created a number of engaging activations and a social-first video series that went through the eyes of the fans to capture the spirit of this year's competition. Working closely with one of the world's largest sports publishers, Sporf, we began our search for 4 fans from each playoff team. To kick things off, we launched a series of Instagram stories on Sporf, which celebrated the playoffs' most agonising and ecstasy-filled moments. Our initial activity generated 6 million impressions and over 4 million video views. Having dominated conversation around the playoffs on Instagram, we launched the second part of our campaign, a prize giveaway hosted on Twitter. After initiating 3 social chain thunderclaps, we were able to record mass engagement and huge traction on the hashtag agony or ecstasy. And then came the moment we had all been waiting for, the Sky Bet playoff semi-finals. Our journey took us to some of the most iconic grounds in English football: Craven Cottage, Hillsborough, the Badesky and the John Smith Stadium. With the action unfolding on the pitch, we took to the stands to document the agony and ecstasy of the games through the eyes of the fans. Our presence on the ground and online content enabled Sky Bet to stay front of mind throughout the competition and leading up to the final showdown at Wembley. May 29th, Wembley Stadium. We were able to capture the true extent of agony and ecstasy in our final video, thanks to a thrilling penalty shootout between Huddersfield Town and Reading. Tubular Insights later revealed that our final video had beaten the Sport Bible, Manchester United and Manchester City to become the most watched sponsored video in the sports category over a 3-month period. Overall, our entire campaign recorded 24 million impressions and over 250,000 engagements.
So as I mentioned, that high arousal emotion and tapping into what football fans genuinely feel day to day did so much better than just barking out a message about Sky Bet, about what bets were on that week or whatever it might be. Tapping into those high level emotions really won for Sky Bet. I have another friend. Her name is Katie. This is Katie. Katie is a student and she absolutely hates Freshers' Flu. So this is her on the second day of Freshers, sat in bed full of self-pity and loathing, and she hasn't even been out yet. Like lots of freshers, she hates Freshers' Flu. And as you can see from social, it's a thing that a lot of students deal with. It's a thing that happens to a lot of students. Now, like a lot of students as well, one thing about Katie is she loves memes. So she hates Freshers' Flu and she loves memes. So when Holland and Barrett came to us wanting to reach and engage students during Freshers' Week, we combined those two things. So memes and Freshers' Flu, and we created branded memes about Freshers' Flu, similar to this. And we amplified those on our student focus community. So Student Problems has about 10 million followers altogether, and we amplified those memes, branded up with Holland and Barrett about Freshers' Flu, about a real problem that was happening to students across the country during Freshers. And you might be thinking, well, what does all of this social noise do? Does it have an impact in reality? Well, yes, it did. So after our meme campaign with Holland and Barrett, they saw a 6 times ROI on in-store redemptions across the UK. So that was students seeing our memes, seeing those related to Holland and Barrett and going into store to get remedies for Freshers' Flu, which is just phenomenal. When you're able to tap into what people care about and what people's real, human condition is, that's when you can really, really win. I have another friend. I'm not just going to sit here all day, by the way, and go through every single one of my friends. Don't worry about that. This is Dom. So Dom is your socially conscious guy. He loves sharing things about the world and making the world a better place. So I'm not sure if any of you will remember this advert from a few Christmases ago. It was actually an Iceland advert, and it was sharing a fantastic message about palm oil and how it destroys the rainforest. And this advert went absolutely massive. It was shared everywhere, and you'd think that the reason why it was shared was because of that wonderful message behind it. And I'd like to think that that it was, but when we looked into it and we looked into this advert, the main reason why people were sharing it was because it was banned. Because it was banned, people were sharing it. And this is just simple human psychology. And it reminds me, I will mention Harry Potter again, it reminds me of a quote from Harry Potter. So in Harry Potter 5, there's this horrible teacher, she's called Umbridge, and she bans a magazine from the school. And Hermione says, Harry, oh Harry, don't you see? If she could have done one thing to make absolutely sure that every single person in this school will read your interview, it was banning it. And this human psychology, people will try banned things. Young children who aren't allowed, not young children, but people who aren't allowed to drink yet will try alcohol. Drugs get taken all the time because they're banned and people want to try them. And this is the same psychology. So Boohooman came to us wanting to cause a storm on social, and we wanted to use this theory of people doing something because it was banned and because they shouldn't do it. So we created this. This here is a staff discount card, and we framed it as if someone had accidentally dropped their staff discount card. If you typed the code in there at the top left hand corner, you got 50% off Boohooman. And people were absolutely loving it. Everyone thought, oh my god, like ha, getting one over on Boohooman. We'd almost created someone to rally against. Boohooman was someone to rally against, and everyone was going to do so. And as much as people were laughing at them, they were also buying their clothes, because on that day, Boohooman saw their highest Google traffic of all time. All it was tapping into human nature and how people act, and it led them to winning. I have another friend. This is the final one, I promise. His name is Richard. So this is a picture of Richard and myself and a couple of friends at Niagara Falls. So Richard is your typical adventurer. He's a risk taker. This is him scuba diving. He's up a mountain there, and in the bottom right picture there, he is just about to jump off of a waterfall. He's got an active lifestyle. He's exactly the type of person who you might think would need a practical, waterproof, high-quality jacket. But similar to a lot of people, Richard thought that Superdry was a bit of a dad brand, and you wouldn't be caught dead in a Superdry jacket. And Superdry knew that they had this perception in the younger generation. And we wanted to change that. We wanted to reverse that. And this is what we did. what Superdry did was align themselves with being dynamic, risk-taking, and the enabler of people's lifestyles. So we had, a guy like scaling a big building, risk-taking. We blew up a car. And all that was about was aligning the brand with being this type of personality. And what that led to was a return on investment for Superdry of 251%. People buying the jackets. And here's Richard, recently on his travels, wearing a Superdry jacket. And the thing is, with Sarah, with Richard, with Katie, with Dom, and with Casey, they're all very, very different people with very different passions, but they all have one thing in common. They're all real people with real thoughts, real feelings, and real cares. They're not just numbers on a screen, like a lot of marketers have traditionally looked at audiences as. Brands that align their personality to the real human condition will win every single time, because all humans intrinsically care about themselves and their own interests. And that goes for everyone, not just my friends. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Hannah. That was such an awesome talk. You have so many great friends, right?
So many great friends.
So many great friends. So a lot of people are saying actually how many great friends you have and how much they love the Harry Potter puns from the beginning of the talk.
Yes. That's my main goal. I'm sorted. I can retire now.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely fantastic. So you've obviously been there quite, at the beginning of Social Chain, and you guys have worked on so many incredible campaigns. Like, what would you say is the most important thing? I know you did cover some great content there, but what would you say is the most important things for brands to remember when they go about creating a campaign or creating some social first content?
Yeah, I think, and it's kind of said in the presentation, but honestly, the amount of brands that will come to us and will be like, well, we've got a discount, or we've got a this, why can't we just, post it on our page? And it's that very simple mindset shift of, there's a person at the end of that tweet, there's a person at the end of that Facebook post, there's a person at the end of that video. If they're not going to care about it, then there's no point in posting it. And I think that's always what we've kind of looked to achieve, is creating content that people will care about, and that's the main thing. That is, I always try, when I'm thinking of an idea, I imagine myself as the person on the other side of the screen, and if that person's not laughing or not enjoying it or not giving a crap, then don't create it. And yeah, that's the main thing.
It's so simple yet so important, and I feel like a lot of brands sometimes overcomplicate things when all they really need to do is go 100%. Back to what you're saying. It's just, who am I talking to? How do I, bring some emotion to them? How do I make them want to go, and read this content or share this content and that kind of thing? I just love the way that you've simplified it for everybody, which is really, really awesome. So that Hannah was the closing keynote today, and she was absolutely fantastic. And I know you all have loads of questions for her. So if you can, please do post your questions either in there's so many different places they're posting questions, in the app, in the comments box, in the discussions box, and that kind of thing. But can these guys get in contact with you directly? Is there anywhere that they can?
Absolutely.
Where can they find you? How can they see some of your Harry Potter pages content?
Yeah, my Twitter and my Instagram is both Hands and, so HANZANDZ. You can also email me if you so wish. It's just hannah@socialchain.com. More than happy to answer any questions. Please feel free to get in touch.
Thank you. I do actually have one more question here, if we can ask it just before we go to our final session of the day. Jenny's asking, what has been your absolutely favourite piece of content or campaign that you've seen, especially during lockdown? So which brands do you think have been doing really well during the lockdown times or the COVID times?
Let me think.
It's a hard question, isn't it? Because like everyone like,
It is. You know what? I would say any brand that's done TikTok well, because I feel like TikTok is the platform of the moment. And if you there's been some really there was one that was done by Converse with an influencer, and they sent him the shoes, and he just made such a creative piece out of it, and it felt so native to the app. I'll send it to you, Lucy, actually, after, if you want to send it, if anyone asks specifically which one it was. But it was just, all of the comments were like, this is the best advert I've ever seen. I love this. Whereas you look at some of the other some brands who've jumped on TikTok and haven't done it quite as natively. They've just chucked a Facebook video up there, or they've just chucked a whatever other video up there. It hasn't done well, and people will recognize that. Whereas this video was like, that's exactly what I mean by, like, you want to create content that people will watch and care about. And yeah, so that was fantastic. Trying to think off the top of my head if there's anything else. We've done something really cool over lockdown, which has just popped in my head. We actually made so we knew that the Olympics was cancelled, so we created Marble Olympics, where we raced marbles, and that was for Cravendale. It was for the milk that lasts longer, and the teams were all different, like milky names. They had like action figures, but the action figures were marbles. It was just that was really, really cool. But yeah, those are two off the top of my head.
Oh, brilliant. Actually, we have, just to quickly, can I ask you another question, if you don't mind? I know you've probably got to go because you're super busy.
Of course.
But Judith wants to know, she says, I love your talk. Could you tell me how, if people relate to people emotionally, what will be the key to make people related to social change? Did that make sense? Let me try and think about, what are you saying? So, I love your talk. Could you tell me how, if people relate to people emotionally, what will be the key to make people related to social change? I guess she's saying, how can we create social change by talking to people emotionally, like relating to people emotionally? And can you create social change?
Change in how people act, and in the goodwill of the world. Is that kind of what I'm?
Just a little bit more help with this question. Can you elaborate a bit more, Judith? Yeah, I'm thinking about. I think she's talking about social change in terms of changing the world, I guess, or changing society.
Changing the world. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think it's. I think emotion and emotive, creative and content should be able to have a huge impact on the world. I think I spoke about this recently in another talk, but how social media is almost seen as quite a negative place at the moment, because of all of the the impact that it can have on mental health, and there's a lot of negative stigma around it. But I look at it as like, there's with all the bad, there's so much good. There's so much good. Yeah. And if you look at like things like when tragedies happen in the world, or when when something's bad in the world, social media now is a place where like billions of people can come together and look to solve that, and look to bring good to the world. And I always think about, because I'm based in Manchester, I always think about the night and the following days after the Manchester bombings, and how, if it weren't for social media, I don't think that everyone would have been able to come together in such a way that they did, and raise all that money for the families, and organise the vigils, and all of this. And I think like sorry, I've gone off on a tangent, but I think social is very, very powerful in positive and in negative ways. But I personally think that the positive outweighs the negative, and absolutely, it's a place where you can bring about positive change. As much as it seems like the world's a bit doom and gloom at the moment, I do think that social media has the potential and the power to bring about positive change.
Do you know what? And I think that is like such a powerful ending to this session. Just how social media can be used for good and for positivity and create social change. So thank you so much, Hannah. You've been absolutely amazing. Could you let us know one more time how people can find you and like talk to you if they want to, catch up with you, or if you want to give us more information and that kind of thing, just let us know. Thank you.
Yep, so you can email me, hannah@socialchain.com, or my Twitter handle is Hanzand, HANZANDZ.
Thank you so much, Hannah. Let's give Hannah a virtual
Thank you very much
for joining us. It was really great to have you, and we'll catch up with you again really, really soon. Thank you so much for listening to the session. It was really amazing, wasn't it? I really enjoyed it, and I'd love to hear her story and see some of the amazing campaigns that they've done there at Social Chain. Like, they are literally one of the best agencies in the entire world. They're amazing, and they're doing great stuff social media wise.